What if the driver taking you home already knew you were never getting there? Anchorage, Alaska, 4:18 p.m. Snow beginning to melt. A silver rideshare pulls beside the curb. Kendra Vale hesitates before opening the back door. Then she looks at her phone one last time and gets in. Before midnight, her family would be calling hospitals. By morning, detectives would discover the ride never followed the registered route. And buried inside the trip history was a stop that officially never happened. Trip duration: still active. Kendra hated long rides in silence. That afternoon, Anchorage felt strangely warm for March. Snow dripped from rooftops. Traffic lights reflected across wet pavement. People walked downtown carrying coffee cups and grocery bags like nothing unusual could happen there. Kendra stood outside the warehouse entrance holding a small paper bag with 2 cinnamon rolls inside. One for her. One for Mila. She always brought her cousin something after late shifts. Last shift before weekend break, Tyrese watched her pull her coat tighter as the rideshare approached. "You sure you don't want me to wait?" he asked. Kendra smiled faintly. "It's 11 minutes, she said. "I'll be home before the coffee gets cold." The sedan stopped beside the sidewalk. No music played inside. Just the low clicking sound of the turn signal. Kendra opened the rear door slowly, then paused. The child lock indicator was already glowing. Not unusual, but something about it made her glance up at the driver twice. Dorian Pike barely looked back. "Airport Road?" he asked calmly. Kendra nodded, and the car pulled away. 4:26 p.m. Ride begins. First, everything looked ordinary. Passing storefronts, slushy intersections, a radio station fading in and out beneath static. Then Kendra noticed something small. The route on her phone changed. Not rerouted. Changed. The blue line curved away from downtown, toward the industrial outskirts near the frozen shoreline. Kendra leaned forward slightly. "I think you missed the turn." Dorian adjusted his mirror. "No," he said quietly. "Traffic's worse ahead." But when Kendra checked outside, the roads were almost empty. But one detail didn't add up. She unlocked her phone, typed one message to Mila. "Drivers taking weird roads, lol." The message sent, but the reply never came. And somewhere ahead, beyond the melting snowbanks and empty highway barriers, the driver turned off the main road completely. The message stopped mid-sentence. Why would someone mute their phone? Seconds before disappearing. 4:41 p.m. Ride still active. The road outside had changed. No storefronts. No traffic lights. Only melting snow power lines and frozen water stretching beside the highway. Kendra kept staring at the map. The blue route no longer showed her apartment. It showed nothing. Just a gray screen loading endlessly. She tried calling Mila. No signal. Then she noticed something else. The child lock light was still glowing. Doors locked. Dorian's eyes stayed fixed ahead. One hand on the wheel, the other tapping slowly against the console, like he was waiting for something. Kendra forced a nervous laugh. "You do rides out here often?" For the first time he smiled, but it never reached his eyes. Only when people stop asking questions. Kendra quickly opened her phone beneath her coat. Her fingers trembled as she typed. "Mila something feels WR." The message never finished sending. And 3 miles ahead, the car slowed near an abandoned roadside fuel station buried in dirty snow. The ride never officially ended. The strangest part wasn't where the car stopped. It was what disappeared afterward. 6:13 p.m. Kendra still missing. Mila kept refreshing the rideshare app. The trip was still active. No destination. No updated location. Just one frozen loading circle spinning endlessly on her screen. Detective Nolan Mercer received the case before sunrise. At first, it looked simple. Adult woman. Delayed arrival. Poor signal area. Until Deputy Elise Barrett pulled up the trip records. 3 minutes of the ride were completely missing. Not blurry. Not damaged. Gone. Like the app itself had skipped part of the trip. Then investigators found something worse. A traffic camera captured Dorian's sedan leaving the highway alone. No passenger visible inside. But the timestamp showed Kendra's phone was still connected to the vehicle Bluetooth. How was her phone still inside? Back at Kendra's apartment, the porch light was still glowing. And beside the kitchen sink, 2 untouched cinnamon rolls sat exactly where she promised they would. The camera captured someone else. Detectives thought the case was falling apart, until one reflection changed everything. 3 days later, snowfall covered most of the tire tracks near the abandoned fuel station. But inside the station, Iris Boone remembered Kendra immediately. The girl looked scared, she whispered. She kept checking behind her. Security footage showed Kendra entering the store alone for exactly 47 seconds. She bought bottled water. Nothing unusual, until investigators slowed the footage frame by frame. In the glass freezer behind Kendra's reflection, someone was standing near the entrance, watching her. Not Dorian, someone taller, wearing a dark construction jacket. And according to the timestamp, that person entered the station before the rideshare even arrived. Detective Mercer replayed the clip again, then noticed something colder. When Kendra walked back outside, she was no longer carrying her phone. The phone was still moving, without her. If she wasn't in the car anymore, why was her phone still driving? 6:48 p.m. GPS still active. Deputy Elise Barrett reopened the ride data again. This time, she zoomed into every second, and what she found made the room go quiet. The phone signal didn't stop at the fuel station, kept moving, slowly, northbound, along a road Kendra never mentioned. Device location, unknown route. But the strange part wasn't movement. It was rhythm. The phone stopped, then moved again, then stopped again, like it was being carried. Mila kept calling. No answer. Just voicemail. Kendra's voice played once, then cut off mid-breath. Detective Mercer leaned closer to the screen, then saw it. At 6:51 p.m., the phone made a final stop, inside a zone not listed on any public map. A blind spot, where even GPS refused to update. And after that moment, the signal never moved again. The driver's story started falling apart. The first lie wasn't spoken. It was recorded. Interrogation begins. Dorian Pike sat calmly in the interview room, hands folded, voice steady. I dropped her at the station, he said. Then I left. But Deputy Elise Barrett placed something on the table. A time-stamped route log. Data doesn't match statement. The car never returned to the highway after the fuel stop. Instead, it turned off into a service road not listed in any rideshare map. Dorian blinked for the first time. Not fear, just delay. Detective Mercer slid another file forward. A partial audio extract from Kendra's phone. Static, then a faint sound. Not a scream, just a whisper. Why did we stop here? Silence filled the room. Dorian finally looked up and said one sentence that changed everything. I didn't stop there. The blind spot had a name. What if the place the GPS refused to show was where everything ended? Detective Mercer didn't sleep. He kept replaying one detail. The blind zone on the map wasn't random. It was private property. A closed logistics yard near the frozen shoreline. Hidden location confirmed. When officers arrived, they didn't find a crash. They found silence. Kendra's phone was there, still on, still recording, half buried near stacked cargo containers. And beside it, a torn paper bag with 2 untouched cinnamon rolls. Mila's name was still open on the last message draft. Never sent. Dorian Pike wasn't inside the yard, but tire patterns matched his vehicle. And a second set of footprints led away from the main road on foot. Hours later, Dorian was found at a roadside checkpoint. No resistance, no explanation, just one sentence. I stopped where I was told to stop. Detective Mercer closed the file slowly, because the truth wasn't just about a ride anymore. It was about a place that erased people without noise. Back at Kendra's apartment, the porch light was finally turned off. But the cinnamon rolls were still there. untouched, like time refused to move forward inside that kitchen. Some rides don't end with arrival. They end with silence that never fully leaves. Subscribe to The Veil of Secret for more untold mysteries.